Hello, and welcome to the Homepage Network. I'm Rhonda Pearson. Stay-at-home orders and social distancing measures due to the coronavirus have accelerated the use of digital technology and online platforms by the masses. From social media to video conferencing to mobile banking and telemedicine, these new ways to connect are not only convenient, they're becoming essential to everyday life. Unfortunately, this also means that online fraud and scams are also on the rise. Today we have Pete Borgerman, Director of Information Security at CNN, with us to talk more about what scams we're seeing, what measures you can take to reduce your risk of an attack, and what to do if you fall victim. Pete, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Pete, what can you tell us about some of the scams that are going around?
Well, from the very beginning of this pandemic event, cyber criminals have been actively using COVID-19 themed emails to trick people into giving up their usernames and passwords and stealing their money. It's interesting to note that 6,000 new coronavirus domains were registered in a single week alone. Global statistics show that cyber events are up 37% since last month, and phishing attempts have jumped by 600% since the beginning of March, all due to COVID-19. The government is now sending out relief checks as part of the federal response to coronavirus, and scammers have heard the same thing and they're hoping to cash in. Already, stories are surfacing about various scams that are being sent via emails, text messages, and letters with official-looking checks. The FTC recently announced that $12.7 million were lost to coronavirus-related scams, according to all the complaints they were receiving since the beginning of the year. So scammers are using available information online to impersonate employers and employees to get people to click on links and open attachments. One person in particular received a personalized text message telling her that here's $1,000 to help with the outbreak, and it's pre-approved, and it included a fake website link.
What are some of the ways we can identify these scams if we are targeted?
Being aware of the latest tactics criminals are using is key to avoiding their traps. Criminals have had the most success by capitalizing on people's emotions, remarkably similar to how they sought financial gains during the Zika virus. Here are 4 steps you can take to avoid these traps. If you receive an email that triggers an emotional reaction, I would stop and just delete the email. If you receive an email or a message that causes you to think, wow, can this really be true? And it kind of makes you curious and gives you that desire to click on a link, I wouldn't click on the link. If you receive an email that claims it's an urgent message, that's a very good tactic they're using. I would stop and think about that before I clicked. And if you receive a phone call or text message that threatens you in any way to get you to act out of fear, I would stop and I would delete that email as well.
Well, some of these scams can be convincing. In the unfortunate event that someone is tricked into one of these scams, what should they do?
Great question. If you've been tricked into supplying your banking credentials or your credit card information, contact your bank right away and let them know. They can help you freeze your debit account and also make sure that no further damage is done, and also help you to file dispute claims. This next step is very important. Reporting what happened in a timely manner will increase your chances of recovering your losses, and will also help mitigate your risk of losing even more. It's also a good idea to report what happened to the Better Business Bureau Scam Tracker. They have a website specifically set up for this. And if you provided any personal identifying information like your Social Security number, you may become victim of identity theft. So the Trade Commission's website has some good information on identity theft and what to do. And lastly, monitor your credit reports. Go to annualcreditreport.com to do that.
Well, thank you, Pete, so much for being here today and sharing all this information. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
As we rely more and more on the internet to go about our daily lives, especially in these challenging times we find ourselves in right now, it's important to stay informed and understand how to protect yourself against cyber fraud. If you're interested in learning more, visit CNN's webpage at www.cnbankpa.com/coronavirus, where you'll find valuable resources such as an article series devoted to online security amidst COVID-19, an article series on the CARES Act, resources for small businesses, and much more. Thank you for watching the Homepage Network.